So we've got a new Radiohead album. We just got a new single last week, and then Friday they announced that whole album's coming out Sunday. So that was fast. No, it's been 5 years since we've gotten a Radiohead album. The King of Limbs back in 2011. It's 2016 now, and this is our first brand new Radiohead album in 5 years. So most of the songs here are kind of songs that they have played live before, songs that they had already constructed, but just never actually put on an album. But despite this, the songs come together very well to create a mesmerizing album. So I had to re-record this part because the audio got messed up the first time I recorded it. So enjoy the review. Burn the Witch, which I enjoy a lot. It's very laid back, but at the same time tense and tight and just really haunting sounding. The strings are very prominent here and throughout the album. The London Contemporary Orchestra actually did all the strings on this album, and they did a great job. After that, we got the next single, which was released, I believe it was either Thursday or Friday last week, and it came with a video as well as Burn the Witch. And Daydreaming kind of talks about how dreamers never learn. They always prefer to be in their dreams rather than looking at the reality of the situation that they're in. And then throughout the song, he kind of distances himself from the dreamers and repeats "half of my life" at the end, which could be talking about his relationship with Rachel Owen, which lasted for 23 years. He was kind of saying he was a dreamer whenever he was with her, but now that they've kind of broken up, he's awoken to realize, what was best for him and what was best for them both in their relationship. And now that they're apart, he's kind of realized the reality of the situation. I'm really enjoying this track. So far, I like it a lot. It's pretty great, but we're only 2 tracks in, so let's keep moving. I've noticed that it has a very ethereal and spacey feel. So far, it's packed with things going on, but at the same time, it feels very open. The next song is Dex Dark, which instrumentally is fantastic, especially once the drums start kicking in after the first chorus. There's so many little, which this is true with just about any Radiohead album, but there's so many little things going on in the instrumental and throughout the track that, the first listen, you may only listen to, the main riff or whatever that's going on, but then the next time you listen to it, you hear like these little echoes going on, maybe out here in the track, or you hear a little drum percussion note that you didn't really notice before. And I just love that every time you go into the album, you could learn something new about the song that you didn't know before. Next we have Desert Island Disc, which has a much more folk feel to it. Big contrast to the previous 3 songs. Much more acoustic feeling, and it could possibly be about him now being on his own after such a long relationship, and now he has all these open avenues and all these open doorways that he can explore and go into that he couldn't before because he was tied down into a relationship. Full Stop starts out with a much more frantic instrumental than the previous track, much more in the vein of Burn the Witch, and it continues this trend and just adds more and more and more on top of the already frantic instrumental, and it just keeps on building and building. Glass Eyes I found to be a very powerful track. It's a piano ballad highlighted by beautiful strings, and they just come sweeping in, and it's just very powerful. Tom is just singing his heart out here. Identikit has one of my favorite instrumentals on the album. The percussion and the guitar riff just sound really, really well together. Tom's voice echoing in the background of the right side of the track, and then he starts singing his normal vocals over it, and it just sounds really, really cool. And it creates almost this haunting feeling as his voice is kind of echoing over here, and then his main vocals come shooting out in front. It just creates a really cool feeling, and the guitar solo, it's the only guitar solo on the album, but it kicks ass. It is so awesome. There's all these effects on top of it, and it just sounds really, really cool. The Numbers is another folky track, this time with more pianos and percussion, and then later on in the song, strings come in to kind of boost the track even more. Many people think this might be Tom's global warming song, even though Tom is a very strong believer in global warming and likes to talk about it, but he said that he would never write a song about it because it would be shit, in his words. That's what he said. But a lot of people are kind of looking at these lyrics and kind of connecting them to the global warming crisis, and I could definitely see that. But I don't know. If Tom says he would never write a global warming song, I kind of want to believe him, but you never know. But after that, we get the song Present Tense, which has a very strong samba feel to it, and the lyrics could be referring to some form of like capoeira, which is a dance done in order to free yourself and repair mental and physical damages. And in the song, he kind of talks about doing this dance to keep himself from thinking about the fleeting and short nature of life and the world around him. So he just wants to be within himself and forget about all of that and just do this dance and really enjoy himself, rather than be thinking about all these other things that could stress him out or make him hate life or whatever. I think it's a really truly beautiful song whenever you pair the instrumental with what Tom is talking about in the track. It just makes a really good song. Lyrically, I can't really figure out what Tinker Tailor is about, but I really, really like the mixing of the instrumental on this song. And Radiohead always has this kind of beautiful chaos, in that even though there's so much going on in the instrumentals a lot of times, like there's strings and guitars and bass and percussion and all these vocal melodies going on and these synths and everything, even though all this is going on, you really never really feel like it's too much or it's out of place. It all feels like it fits in the mixing, and I think that's really, really awesome. It's something that they do very, very well, and it never feels messy or anything. True Love Waits closes out the album with a ballad. It's a song that has been around since 1995. It's just never gotten a proper release, like many of the songs here. I think this is the oldest one, though. I don't think any of the other songs have been around this long. This song even came up on one of their live albums that they released. I think it's the perfect way to end this almost musical journey that you've just gone through. It's kind of down-tempo and slow, and just some pianos, and Tom just singing, and it just really closes out the album really, really well. Overall, the album is a mixture of everything you've gone through with Radiohead, almost, over their past 8 albums. It's both frantic and haunting, while also being rejuvenating and beautiful. I've only given it a couple listens at this point, as it's Monday when I'm recording this. It just came out yesterday, but I'm really, really enjoying it. Whether or not the songs directly relate to his past relationship, some people are kind of connecting all the songs to that, and a lot of the puzzles fit. But at the same time, a lot of these songs have been around since before the relationship ended, but maybe before the actual end of the relationship they were still having a lot of problems, maybe trying to work through it. I don't know. All I know is there's still a lot of themes of regret and reminiscing throughout the album. There's not a song I want to skip here so far. Every time I sit down to listen to it, I end up listening through all of it. It flows really, really well together. It's not terribly long. I think it's like maybe around the 50-minute mark. I think like 48, 49 minutes. So it's not ridiculously long. You can easily just sit down, listen to it, and enjoy it. It's mixed and produced very, very well. It's structured so you don't get bored of one sound. Like the two folky songs, there's a couple of more frantic songs in between them, so that it's not two folk songs right behind each other and you're like, ugh, I'm tired of the sound already. And the frantic songs are spread out so that it's not just pounding you in the head. It's structured very, very well. And the lyrics really, really make you think, which all Radiohead album lyrics make you think. Tom York is a terrific writer. Even though there's not pages worth of lyrics, like some artists, like a Modest Mouse album, there may be pages and pages of lyrics just because Isaac has so much to say. Here, Tom and Radiohead, they keep it short with their lyrics, but even though there's not a whole lot of actual words here, the words that they do say mean a lot and make you think. And the band really knows how to make you think with few words actually said. Overall, I'm really, really enjoying this. Right now, I would probably say a 7 out of 10, but I could easily see this moving up to an 8 or maybe even a 9 over time. But yeah, right now I'm saying a very strong 7, just because I don't know about the lasting impact it may have. But yeah, I could very easily see this going up to an 8 out of 10 and maybe even a 9 out of 10. A really, really great album here from Tom York and Radiohead.